Hello, my name's Alex from the Advent Label Applicator Company, and this is going to be a demonstration of an Advent 300, our pressure-sensitive labeler, unique pressure-sensitive labeler. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a standard machine and get these clear labels onto these cast glass containers. We'll just start from loading the machine, making the adjustments, and then labeling these 6 containers. So the first thing we're going to do is load up the labels. So we go to the machine, we release the brake arm spring, and we remove the mandrel. The mandrel is what holds the labels. Slide the labels on. You want to make sure that the core bites into these clips nice and securely. You don't want the roll of labels spinning on the mandrel because it defeats the brake arm, and then you'll have difficulty getting a single label on the machine or on their container. Okay, so I'm just adjusting the guides. I'm going to put the mandrel back into place. You just flex out the wings, make sure that the brake arm strap is not pinched. And we're going to go grab our labels. I'm just going to feed it through the machine. One of the simplest labelers to feed. You can see we just pull it straight towards the front of the machine. I like to make a little bit of a point. We have a peel bar. The peel bar has Teflon tape on it. This is where the label gets separated from the backing material. Just the peel bar back into place. Falls into 2 notches. You just want the sharp edge facing up and towards the white tires. And the way the machine works is when you turn it on, it gets a signal. And these 2 rollers right here, this 8-inch roller and this 4-inch drive roller, come together and pull the labels through the machine. So you can see here, I'm just putting the material between those 2 rollers, and it will automatically deflect towards the back of the labeler. Okay. So we come to the back. And at this time, this is a good time where usually you want to peel off about 20 inches to feed the label, feed a new roll of labels through the machine. This is our waste rewind. Automatically pulls up the backing material. You just want to wrap that around once. Okay. Then you can reattach the brake arm spring. Okay. Go ahead, it automatically wraps up. And then you're just going to feed out a label. And that allows the material to start to track correctly. Usually you want to feed out about 2 or 3 labels. This is a good time to set your timer, your pre-feed timer. When we set it to 0, we don't get a label to be fed out. We're looking for about 25 to 50% of the label to be fed out. And that's perfect. On a clear label material like this, we usually want more stretch. So having closer to 25% helps pull that label around the cast glass container. If you get more than 1 label, that usually means that your timer is set too high or your brake arm spring is not attached. And you can see when I feed out that label, it automatically pulls the waste and keeps it in tension. And this unique feeding system allows us not to use any photoeyes on the Advent 300 or any of the 300 series labelers, which is a big advantage. This type of label, you'd be usually required to buy an $800 to $1,200 clear label sensor. So that's a big advantage, and it also allows you to do both butt cut and die cut labels. Doesn't matter what material is made out of. Okay, so now you can see that the labels are tracking well. We can move our guides into place. That just locks the webbing. And then we're going to adjust for the container. So as you can see right now, the carriage is too large. These tires are too far apart. And we can adjust it anywhere from 1 inch to 12 inches in diameter just by turning this knob. So what you're looking to do is to have the container supported by both sets of rollers and just have it hovering over the peel bar by about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. It doesn't have to be an exact adjustment. So once you have that set, then you could take your guides, which are just held on by thumb locks right here, and move the container. Just move them into place to hold the container as your guides. And you could turn the timer to 0. Once you have the carriage all set, that's a good time to adjust your overhead pressure arm. It's the only tool you need, which comes with the labeler. It's our Allen wrench tool. Just loosen it up and you can slide it left and right. And what that allows you to do, once we have it tightened up with a little bit of a gap on this stop on the left hand side, it doesn't slow you down. So you can see it just lifts up, puts the pressure on the container to allow it to spin consistently, and you can take it out. Very, very simple. And I'll demonstrate that right now. We have the timer at 0, so it's not going to feed a label. You can see the container is spinning nice and smoothly. We don't have any high points that we have to worry about on this container. But if we did, we could move these rollers left and right to clear these high points. And you can see that on this type of container where you have a ridge on the bottom. And you could adjust these rollers to clear those ridges. You can just move them left and right. You can do the same in the rear too. Just to demonstrate that, if you had a high point like right here, you just take your Allen wrench tool again. You can move them left and right to clear those high points. And that's a very, very important feature on the Advent labelers. Most people have solid rollers, and that would prevent you from getting a label into a recessed area without any bubbles or wrinkles. Having the ability to adjust for those high points allows that label to be wrapped around very nicely. So I'm going to turn the time back up to 3, and I'll insert the container. You can see a single label goes on, and you would just take it out and take a look at it. As you can see here, I think I'm too low. See, there's a little bubbling there because it's at the shoulder. So I need to move the label up. But besides that, you can see it goes on absolutely perfect. And this is a clear label going onto a cast glass container, and you would see any type of imperfections. And that's as good as it gets. Absolutely perfect. So let me make an adjustment here. So I can take the same container, and I need to move the bottle down. I'm just going to take my guides and moved it about 1/4 of an inch. And if I want to, I could peel that label off. Some labels come off easily. These do. Insert it. And there we go. So the bottom's absolutely perfect now. We're at the top. And that just looks fantastic. So let me finish these off. And generally the way most people work is 2 hands. Take it out of the box, label it, put it into the box. This type of label, I think you could average about 25 per minute. And just like that, we did 6 containers. They look as good as can be. Even when the label gets applied over the seam, we're wrapping around there really nice and tight, and you can just see it looks like it's almost silk screened. And remember that the Advent 300 doesn't require any air. You don't have to hit a foot pedal. You can adjust very easily without any tools from different size containers, different types of containers, paper, plastic, metal. Any questions? We can be reached at 800-846-7716. Thank you.